Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to our 6th Healing by Human Design presentation. And I'm really excited tonight because I have some very different material and some new information that I've actually never shared before that I'm going to be talking through tonight and talking about some of the big conversations, sometimes the elephant in the room that we don't talk about when we talk about business success. When you think about business success, and maybe you're wondering, why are we doing business success in a healing under the auspices of healing? I will tell you that what I have found in the work that I've done for the last 26 years, 27 years this year, is that when people are feeling called, when their soul is called to fulfill a purpose or a mission, if you're not able to activate the full success of that mission in a way that keeps you supported and inspired and clicking along, doing the work that you came here to do, it's actually tremendously painful and can actually be very traumatic and cause all kinds of physical symptoms and emotional and spiritual symptoms, including anything that spins off from burnout. And we talked about burnout I think in December. The burnout seminar is actually on the Facebook page if you want to go back and watch that replay and talk about what goes on when you go through burnout. So technically it's not a healing, presentation in the way that we normally talk about, but it's certainly a place where people carry a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. And I think really need a lot of healing, or what I like to really call it's not so much healing, but alignment. So tonight we're going to talk about things that perhaps you've never thought about in relation to your business and why perhaps business might not be working for you. If you don't have your own business, but you're wanting to create a business or you're wanting to escape from a job you hate, what we're talking about tonight might also really apply to you and help you understand maybe why perhaps you aren't quite making that leap yet out of that job into the thing you really dream of doing. I'm going to introduce you to the mechanics of business in the human design chart and the energies around business. And I'm going to show you a little bit about why we get very confused about business and why sometimes the things that we do in business make us feel icky and like we need to backpedal from them, or there's something dark and terrible associated with them. People don't like to market, for example, or to sell. And I'm going to show you why and how sometimes the energy for selling gets confused in the chart, and what you need to do to begin to tap into a different way of using the energy or the blueprint for business in your own business, and some of the elements that perhaps you've never thought about that might be keeping you stuck and might be part of your own personal journey with your business that is really giving you perhaps pain, or not giving you the support or the sustenance or the abundance that you've been longing for, so that while you're on your path to fulfilling the calling of your soul and your heart's desire in a place of service in the world. So let's get started. Cindy, I think you have the slides up. The first thing that I always want to say is this: we tend to be very linear and very logical in the way in which we approach everything, whether it's health, whether it's healing, whether it's education, whether it's relationships, whatever. Anytime we go out into the world, we're always on a quest for the formula, right? We want to know the formula. And at the end of this conversation tonight, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Newtonian physics, or the kind of physics most of us learned in school, and how Newtonian physics actually deeply influences the way in which we think and the way in which we understand the world, and why that old form of physics, that very physical material understanding of the world that is really outdated since the emergence of quantum physics. I'm going to talk to you about why quantum physics has changed the formula for business, and why we're in this weird spot where our consciousness around business is shifting, and the formulas that we've been using in the past to create success in our business don't really work anymore. What I want to show you tonight is that the root of your business success is not about education. not about how much business capital you have access to. It's not about business techniques, plans, and strategies, beautiful websites, fabulous business cards. Those things are awesome and nice, but those things are not vital to your business success. I will tell you and I'll tell you from my own experience, you can have the crappiest, ugliest websites on the planet and still make a lot of money to support yourself and sustain your business if you are aligned in these other areas. It's your authenticity and other elements that I'm going to talk about tonight. When those other elements get lined up, it doesn't matter what your business techniques, plans, and strategies look like. You will create success because of your energy. Your success isn't dependent on your ability to use sales formulas. It's not dependent on your marketing. It's not dependent on how many high-end clients you have. It doesn't matter what you wear, how you look. It doesn't matter about your branding. What matters is you show up in the way that's correct for you, and you leverage your business in the way that's correct for you. You have your own unique formula for success in business. And tonight I want to show you where some of those formulas, where you can find some pieces of your own personal formula and how you can begin to tap into your unique way of doing business in the way that's right for you. So let's start first with looking at human design. And for those of you who are new to human design is a synthesis of Eastern and Western astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Hindu chakra system, Kabbalah, and quantum physics. And if you do not have your human design chart yet, you can get your free human design chart from the Facebook page, Healing by Human Design. That free chart will we actually personally hand calculate those charts for you, and that chart will come with a whole bunch of information about your unique energy blueprint and how you're hardwired. In the human design chart, if you go up a slide, Cindy, to the one that says Energy Blueprint for Business, the chart actually has all kinds of little lines in it. Those lines are actually circuits, and the chart actually is not only a blueprint for you personally. If you look at the entirety of the chart, it's actually a blueprint for the human experience and kind of a catalog of all the archetypes of humanity. That's a very complex way of saying this chart is a map for how different kinds of themes in the human experience flow. And there is actually a flow of energy in the chart that is the energy flow for business. The business circuit is actually marked in red on this particular slide. I'm going to walk you through the business circuitry and talk to you a little bit about the components of what is contained within the archetypes of business and what high energy business looks like versus low energy business. So as I'm going through this, even if you have a very rudimentary understanding of human design, just listen to me. You don't have to have your chart handy and be looking at this and try to figure out if I have this colored in or not. I'm talking about the energy for business in humans in general. So I'm using this as a general template for what's possible for us as humans and not necessarily relating this specifically to you. Your chart will, of course, tell me a lot, but mostly I want you to I want to get your wheels turning. I want to give you a little bit of hope tonight that if you've been struggling with your business, that there are other options and other paradigms and other ways of thinking about this that perhaps might open you up to experiencing a different place of inspiration and a different place of awareness of where perhaps your energy might be getting bungled up in the way in which you create and build your business. So when we look at the energy blueprint for business, we'll see, first of all, there are 4 centers involved in the energy for business. In the human design system, there are 9 energy centers. Each center is responsible for processing different kinds of energies. The first energy center that we want to look at that's involved in business is the root center. The root center is the center for adrenaline energy. It's also the place where we react to what the world brings us. So the energy for the root center kind of works like this. You walk through life, you see something, you go, wow, I really love that, or ooh, I really hate that. It's the place where we receive inspiration and even enlightenment from the world around us. I'm going to use the word respond here, but I don't want you, for those of you who are more familiar with human design, I don't want you to get confused about the word respond, because I'm not talking about the sacral. I'm saying that We are all collectively designed to react to or respond or to experience the world around us. And as we go through our experiences, those experiences give us ideas and inspirations and even enlightenment. That the inspiration for business comes from our experience. We go out into the world, we see a problem, we see a possibility, we have an idea about what could potentially help people, and we get that initial seed for a business idea from our observations and our experiences in the world. The center that's involved in business is the spleen center. The spleen is the center for your intuition. Oh, by the way, let me just say something real quick about the root center. As I go through this, I'm going to talk about the high expressions. I'm also going to talk about the low expressions. The root center energy, which was the center at the bottom of the chart, the center for adrenaline energy, and in its low expression, it gives us a tremendous amount of pressure and stress. So business in its low energy can cause us a lot of stress. In the high expression of this adrenaline energy, the inspiration for business actually gives us a drive. This is where ambition lives. This gives us the tenacity to take an inspired thought, an enlightened thought, and to actually have the drive to hold on to that thought and to lay the foundation for the manifestation of that thought into form or business with a considerable adrenaline charged, juicy, exciting, dynamic energy. Business can be fun when it's the right energy and when we're entering into it correctly. The spleen center is the center for intuition and awareness. We are designed to do business intuitively. In fact, if you have cut your intuition and all of your senses and your feelings and your awarenesses out of doing business, if you think business is strictly a logical process, you've chopped off an entire important function in the energy of business. You have to be intuitively aware, and most of all, you have to be sensing and knowing when the timing is right for your business, or when the timing is right to make a sale, or when the timing is right to transmit information that can create relationships that deepen your business. So your intuition and developing your intuition and being attuned to correct timing is really, really important. The low side of the spleen here, though, survival. And it can create in us, in the low expression of this energy, this tremendous fear of in our businesses. And the fear of failure in business, this in the slides tonight because this is just an adjunct thing to think about, but sometimes the fear of failing our business is so overwhelming that it actually keeps us paralyzed and doesn't allow us to move forward into trusting our own intuition and our own sense of what might be a good and profitable dream to bring into form. Our own fear of failing can sometimes keep us back from actually manifesting that dream into its fullest form. The next center that we want to look at when we're looking at the energy for business, and this is actually where we make our money, but it's also where we are of service. And I'm actually going to talk about the will center a lot towards the end of the presentation. The will center, this little red triangle, is the center for willpower. It's also the center for value. And this is where we hold the energy for value. And it's physical value, it's meaning monetary value, material goods, material things, but it's also self-worth and value. And trust me, this center gets totally bungled up by most of us in the business arena. If you are in any way struggling with a sense of your own value, a sense of value of the services that you have to offer, or worse yet, collective issue, I don't think you all have this issue, but if you are devaluing your clients, if you're simply looking at your clients as a number or a factor in a formula and you're not actually caring about your clients, and by the way, the energy for business is deeply tribal and it involves deep caring. The highest expression of business is caring. If you don't care about your clients, you might be able to stay in business for a while and maybe make a living and maybe make, a big living for a while, but you will not be sustainable. The blueprint of energy, the blueprint of the energy for business says, and this, by the way, more so now than ever before, the blueprint for the energy of business says that when you value your clients and when you engage in business from a place of desire to serve, you will be sustained financially. You will be taken care of. If you are engaging in business and you do not care about your clients, you do not value your service or your product, and you are not engaging in it for the sake of serving, you can get away with it for a short time, but you will eventually come down. And I certainly would say that we are in a big, huge evolution around the energy of business, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later, and that we are absolutely in a cycle right now where businesses that are out of alignment with integrity cannot sustain themselves for much longer. So you as an entrepreneur, you as somebody who has a desire to be of service in the world, you have a very, very important role to play on the leading edge of the evolution of the energy for business on the planet. And the world needs you now more than ever to really get who you are, what you're here to do, and to fully activate that mission and that life purpose that you're on as part of growing and impacting people with the message or the service or the healing or whatever it is that you're here to provide. All right. Well, as I said, we'll talk more about the Will Center later as we continue through with the presentation. This actually plays a big role in the last part of the presentation. The Throat Center is the last energy center in the business circuitry. The Throat Center is the center for manifestation into action. And it's also part of articulation and being able to speak and share what you have to say. Being able to speak clearly about your business and about what you're doing is a crucial part of being successful in business. You do have to have an ability, let me reframe it, you have to learn the ability or the capacity to be able to speak about your business in a way that is clear and that makes sense to others. Words create form. Words create manifestation. And part of the sales process and part of the business process does involve you being able to, as the leader of your business, transmit the purpose of your business to others and to really be able to speak to the people you care about and the people you're serving in such a way that they can hear that your service will be of benefit. All right, let's go through this just a little bit more deeply. I just want to show you this. I want to go into this just a little bit more deeply. The gate 54, and I'm kind of skip because there's some other big things I want to cover, but I just want to throw this out there for those of you who are more familiar with human design. I want you to understand that business is about caring. Business is about serving. Business is also deeply spiritual. And that any energy that goes through that little red triangle, the will center, has a function of sustaining people, but that sustaining energy, that capacity to create resources that last, the capacity to have resources even when you rest, requires a certain amount of spiritual awareness and, frankly, surrender. There's magic in business. There's alchemy in business. And you have to be able to tap into it correctly to maximize the impact as well as the profits that you have. And you have to understand that when you enter into the entrepreneurial realm, you're entering into a spiritual journey. And as such, it's going to reflect back to you elements of where you are with your own trust in the source or God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. It's also going to be dynamic. If you lose touch, as we tend to all do, with your abundance consciousness or your connection to source, you get out of habit of praying or whatever it is you do to connect with source, your business is going to be a reflection of your spiritual connection. And it is a dynamic and flowing process. And it's never going to have an ascension curve that just goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up. It will always have cycles in it. And those cycles, as part of your journey in your business, are spiritual cycles. So we always start business, or the energy for business always starts with enlightenment. Ambition and enlightenment in the human design chart are the same energy. It goes through to the gate 32, which is intuition, right timing, and endurance. And I'm bringing you this to your awareness just because I invite you, as I'm going through this, to take little notes and ask yourself later after this presentation, where are you at with your enlightenment? How deeply do you feel connected to source? Do you trust your intuition? Do you trust in right timing? Do you have the energy and the endurance and the drive to hold to your dream and wait for the right timing for it to come true? The energy for sales is actually in the 44. The 44 is called coming to greet in traditional I Ching. It's also the energy for telling the story of the past. It's part of the channel of transmission. So when we sell, we are helping people transform the stories of the past into something better, something more inspiring, something more sustainable, something more hopeful, something more in alignment with integrity. But here's the thing, just to throw this out here. Integrity is a big theme in this channel, and if you're not feeling aligned with integrity, and what I'm saying is, if you're trying to sell and you're using some icky sales technique that you learned from somebody off the internet, or you purchased some $5,000 course about how to close a sale with high-end clients, and you hate it and you feel gross about it and you don't like it and it doesn't feel how you would like to sell, or you're trying to sell in a way that's not in alignment with your human design energy type, if you're feeling out of alignment in any way yourself with integrity, it's going to be very difficult for you to sell. You cannot sell if you're out of alignment with integrity. You used to be able to do that. Let me just say that. You used to be able to do that. But in the energies that we are seeing as business evolves, if you yourself, and certainly I would say for the people who are attracted to my business, the people who I attract to this business, cannot sell if they feel out of integrity. They struggle with it. They feel uncomfortable with it. It gives them a stomach ache, and you may relate to that. So for you, if you're going to engage in the sales process, and you might have to do that in your business, you have to be able to sell in a way that feels in alignment with integrity, and it feels good to you, and it feels in integrity for you personally, and you also have to feel that what you're selling is a product of integrity, and that you are actually facilitating or helping people transform the pains of the past into something powerful and positive so they can create more abundance in every way, more value in their lives, and move forward into the world. The gate 26, sometimes called the gate of the liar, is actually also the energy for closing the sale. So you can see right here that the energy for sales can be gross, and the used car sales guy in the beige plaid suit, the low end of the 26, out of integrity, or the gate of the liar, or it can be high integrity, and you can be selling something that comes from your heart, because the will center is the center for the heart, and you can be selling from a place of integrity. When you sell from a place of integrity, when you sell from your heart, you will close the sale. If you are out of alignment with integrity and it does not feel right, it'll be difficult for you to close the sale. And there are ways for you to tap into the heart when you're in the sales process that makes it feel like a collaborative agreement between you and a client, that is an exchange that creates value both for you and your client. But you have to be able to do that correctly and tap into that energy. And sometimes that involves clearing old belief systems. We'll talk some more about that when we get to the end of the presentation, when we talk about value. But there are ways to sell that are not so icky. In the next section, just the last channel here, the gate 21 is all about management and allocation of resources. The one thing that I want to just add is the will center, which is the center that's connected to this gate 21. Is designed to work to rest. What that means is that human beings, when they engage in business, are designed to have cycles of rest within their business working habits. You are designed to have weekends or vacations or downtime or time off as part of your business. And you are designed to actually generate business in such a way that while you're taking time off, you're not supposed to go bankrupt or scramble financially. You're actually designed to have business that sustains you, and that the more you engage in business in a balanced and sustainable way, the better your business does, which is so counterintuitive to how most of us are trained. We are trained, you want to make money, you work. You want to make more money, you work hard. You want to make even more money, you work harder. What the will center and what the blueprint template for humanity shows us is that hard work is very finite, and that if you're not creating your business in a balanced way that gives you respite and restoration and rest, that you'll actually end up sabotaging your business in some way, shape, or form, because we're not designed to be powering on in our business 24/7. Workaholism is not sustainable. And if you want to be in your business for the long haul and make a profit for the long haul and have impact for the long haul, if you're here to do this because you love it, and you want to do this until the day you leave the planet, then you have to do this work in a balanced way. And it is not how most of us are trained. And I will tell you, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, if you're not sustainable with your energy, if you're not feeling energetic and vital and vibrant, and that only comes from rest and restoration, if you're not in that place, it's difficult for you to create success in your business because your unconscious mind is going to say, I don't want to be successful. I'm tired. I want a Saturday off on the couch with, Netflix or a book. I want to go outside in the backyard and snooze in the hammock. If you're burned out, it is very difficult to create a powerful, impactful, sustainable, profitable business. Last but not least, the Gate 21 is all about managing resources, and the 45 is about distribution of resources. Let me just also say that there's some other energies associated with this, including education, which is part of allocating and managing resources. With our business, we are designed to teach and share with others. Business is about sharing, okay? Not about hoarding, not about keeping for yourself, not about taking from others and running. It's about sharing. Okay, so what we see in the circus is that circuit, not circus, circuit. It can be a circus for sure, but it is, now we're talking about circuits. The highest expression of business is manifestation of divine inspiration into form. The highest expression of business is a deep connection to source via your intuition. Your business is designed to be or to serve the greater good of everyone. It is designed to be sourced in education. It is designed to be a creation of resources. It is designed to be a system of service. It is designed to be a place where you transmit truth and transformation. And it is designed to give people and yourself sustainable management of resources, and it must be in high integrity. These are qualities that have to be in place for the business to be sustainable and successful. You also have to build your business through love and relationships, caring and sharing. It has to be a business that endures and transforms. There's no get rich quick. Okay, there really isn't. That's a myth that can happen for some people, and it's a bizarre aberration. Business is designed to be sustainable, enduring, and transformational. It's also designed to be balanced, and it involves community. And most importantly, and this is key, this is so key, particularly when we talk about business in the modern world, it's rooted in service. The desire to be in business has to be because you have a desire to serve or deliver a service, not because you want the money. It is not about, and this is key, not about sacrifice or martyrdom. Okay? Sacrifice and martyrdom result in energy depletion, and you will run your business into the ground if you are doing sacrifice and martyrdom. It needs to be sustainable. I'm driving this point home over and over and over again because I will tell you in the last 27 years of working with people that the number one reason I see people struggle and fail in business is because they're burned out, and it has nothing to do with how awesome their business is, how talented and gifted they are, how much money they have, or anything. It's because they don't have the energy resources to sustain and endure in the business. Money cannot be the goal, but is part of what's necessary to sustain your business. You cannot go into business for the sake of making money. Money, and we'll talk about money later when we talk about value, but money is not the goal. If you are only going into this business or to a business for money, it will not sustain you. Business success is directly correlated to three key factors, and we're going to talk about these for the rest of the evening: alignment, sustainability, and value. So let's talk a little bit about what does that mean, alignment, sustainability, and value. Let's talk first about alignment. When we're talking about alignment, I'm talking about a term that we use a lot in human design called the not self, okay? Anytime we are expressing the not self, we are out of alignment. Okay, what is the not self? Your human design chart actually gives you a map or a blueprint of who you really are. Okay, it shows you your strengths, it shows you your weaknesses, it shows you your life purpose, it shows you who you are, it shows you how you operate, what you're here to do, your soul's purpose, the purpose of your business, what you need to do to generate business, how you need to generate business, what kind of business you should create. It also shows you what you really love and how to know what you want and how you really love. It shows you where you take in energy from others, and it also shows you what energies you have that are true to you. It's a blueprint for your life path, for your soul path. It's your unique, it shows you your unique way of structuring your business, your unique blueprint for business, including marketing, promoting, and how to maximize your potential. Anytime you are living what we call off the chart, meaning when you're trying to create a business that's out of alignment with who you really are, okay, you will be struggling to maintain and sustain and to profit from or to have success from your business. What the human design chart shows us, and we're actually on the G Center now, Cindy, if you want to scroll up or down. What the human design chart shows us is that you are designed to love yourself. You are designed to have a powerful voice that is all about you feeling powerful in the world. You're allowed to speak for yourself and to have an empowered voice. You are designed to, by being the fullest expression of who you are, to make a unique contribution to the world. You are designed to move through the experience of life and to let go and learn from the lessons, but to not hold on to things that keep you stuck, blocked, or less than who you really are. You are designed to go through life deeply connected to source. You are designed to go through life feeling physically healthy and vital. You are designed to go through life and in the highest expression of who you are designed to receive, not work hard to create, but to receive all the support you need to fulfill your life purpose. And you are designed to take actions and to live in such a way that you are contributing to the greater good of the whole. If anything in that formula is out of whack, it will impact your business success, because what happens is if you are out of whack in any of those areas, and I'm going to distill this down even more specifically in a second, what happens is it will create what we call unmet energy needs. So for example, if you don't love yourself, you're going to go out into the world with a need to get your love from others. If you go into business and you don't love yourself and you're trying to prove your love worthiness to others in your business, it's going to impact the way in which you engage in business. It's going to impact the way in which you do sales, for example. If you don't love yourself, it's going to be very difficult for you to ask for the sale, because you may not value yourself enough to be able to close the sale effectively. If you don't love yourself, you might not structure your business in such a way that your business is balanced. You might not do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself in your business. You might even find that you tolerate or put up with clients who are even abusive to you because you don't set clear boundaries and limits in your business, or maybe you run over in your sessions and so you don't get lunch because you're so busy taking care of everybody and being nice to everybody that you forgot to take care of yourself first so that you can be sustainable in your business. Key energies are going to play a vital role in you being able to keep your energy aligned and sustainable in your business. If you want to go a little bit further, what we see in the human design system is that if we take all of the energies in that chart, and there are 9 centers, there are 64 gates, there are 32 channels, there are 12 what we call profiles, learning styles, there are 5 types. That's a lot of combinations in that chart. If you take all of the energies in that chart, you can combine them into 9 key areas of resiliency. Those key areas of resiliency include your lovability, your empowerment, your sense of empowerment, how powerful you feel in your life, your courage, meaning how capable you are of pushing through fear and not letting fear keep you back or keep you stuck, or doing things because you're reacting with fear. Your ability to make good choices in the way that's right for you, your decisiveness, your emotional wisdom. If you don't understand how your emotions work and what happens with your emotional energy, if you're not living out the highest expression of self-trust, if you don't trust your intuition and your own inner sense of what's right for you or what's right for your business, and I'm just going to take a little example and go on a tangent here with this for a minute. I personally have coached with many, many people over the years. Myself, I've hired coaches. I recently, in the last couple of years, I hired a coach and I paid an extraordinarily high amount of money for this woman who came very highly recommended, top business coach out there, one of the top business coaches out there. I paid $64,000 for the year of coaching with her. And she gave me, advice. She coached me. And I really struggled with it because I paid a lot of money to her, or what for me was a lot of money to her. And I wanted to do what she told me to do because I paid a lot of money for it. So I thought I should follow what this lady's saying, and she's obviously making more money than me. And I could not follow through on many, many, many of the things that she told me. And I did follow through on some of them, and it felt terrible. My intuition around what she was telling me to do with my business was screaming in protest. This was not fear. This was not lack of emotional wisdom. This wasn't me not connected to my decision-making strategy. This wasn't me being afraid of power or being out of power. This wasn't even me in self-value. This was my plain old intuition going, feel good to me. This doesn't feel correct for me. This doesn't feel right for me. And I finally, about 6 months into this contract, I just stopped going to my coaching sessions, even though I was still paying for it, because I didn't know what to do, because I was feeling really dumb for having spent that much money, to be quite frank with you. I had to really backpedal and say, wait, I have to trust myself and what's correct for me. And when I dropped back into that space of trusting my own intuition around my business, I really got my business into a very different place, and it felt good, and it didn't feel icky, and it didn't feel contrived, and it didn't feel weird, and it didn't feel like it was pushing away the people who had been my clients for years. It really allowed me to drop deeper into who I was and what my business was about. And so when you are not in a space where you can trust your intuition and you give yourself permission to trust that inner knowingness, you oftentimes will do business things like I did, hire people that are not aligned with your vision or your energy or understand how you operate, and will try to tell you to do things you don't want to do. One of my clients, one of my students, was also a similar story, working with a very high-end coach, and the coach she's been working with they are very, very big on cold calling. You have to call and call and call. If you want to fill a workshop or a seminar, you got to call people, and you got to do like 30 calls in an hour. Just call people, hang up, and get people on the phone. And she was exhausted from following this principle, this strategy, because intuitively it just did not feel right to her. It didn't feel correct for her. And even though her head was going, oh, but this is a leading edge business coaching system, she had to get back into that feeling into what is right for me. If you're not trusting your intuition, it's going to impact your business. Your knowing how to leverage your energy is key to creating success in your business. I will tell you, when we talk about sustainability in a minute, I know I've already said this once, but I'm going to say it again and again and again, because people usually fail in their business, or fail to get launched in their business, or procrastinate doing the things they know they need to do to make their business work, like building a website or doing SEO on your website or whatever. If you're not doing what you know you need to do, or you're struggling to really get your ducks in a row with your business, or you're procrastinating, or you're putting stuff off, it might be because you're burned out. I would very lovingly and very gently say that most of my business clients, upwards of 90%, are in some way, shape, or form burned out. It is very difficult to create a business when you are tired and your physical energy and your vitality is not on board. So sometimes before you can really build your business or take it to the next level, you got to tackle the burnout piece first. If you are not being completely authentic in your business, if you are compromising what you're saying because you're afraid that people aren't going to buy what you really want to sell, or you're changing the way you talk about it because you think you should be more mainstream, so you're hiding parts of what you do or parts of what is truth for you. If you're afraid to fully express yourself and the truth of who you are out in the world because maybe you don't think it's safe, or maybe you think people won't value it or love it, if you're hiding out and not being real, it's going to impact your business deeply. I'll tell people, and I've seen this work again and again and again, if you are genuinely, with all your heart and soul, with enthusiasm and pure authenticity, 100% behind what you're selling, if you love what you're selling and what you're doing so much and you're completely in your truth with it, you'll sell even if you have even if you have a crappy website, even if you are using terrible sales strategies, your authenticity will sell more than anything in the world, because what everybody really wants is to be real. Most people want permission to liberate themselves from belief systems, from situations, from constraints, from old traumas. Most people are so inspired by authenticity because that's what they want. They want to be who they are too. Most people are so inspired by your authenticity that they'll buy because your authenticity, because you're being real. You know, there's been a buzzword in business recently about transparency. That's been the big word, right? Maybe you even heard it. You know, let's be transparent. Transparency sells, not because it's a strategy. I've watched people be transparent and it's totally bogus. I've watched people make sales videos and they'll tell you, I cry at minute 3.42 because I'm so moved and sad and happy and joyful about what I'm sharing with you. That's not being transparent. That's being inauthentic. Inauthenticity pushes people away. Being authentic and truly transparent will sell no matter what you're selling, no matter how you're selling it, because people want real. They resonate energetically. They feel it when it's real. Self-worth. And actually, we're going to talk about self-worth in a lot later. The way, how much you value yourself is going to impact your business a lot. If you don't value yourself, it's very difficult for you to sell your services and your products. It's very difficult for you to sell yourself. And you might find that you compromise in that sales process, or you compromise in the value transmission part of the business, and you struggle with selling. Or you compromise, and instead of asking for what you really want, you lower the price because you're afraid people are not going to want it because it's too expensive or it's too valuable. Or you'll try to barter, or you're even worse, you'll feel sorry for somebody and give it away because you feel bad for charging what you're worth. So self-worth is usually the second bugaboo after burnout that people really struggle with in creating the business that they really want to be creating. If you're not living out the high expression of the 9 resiliency keys, you're going to have unmet energy needs that will corrupt your business intentions and misalign your energy. You'll engage in business for reasons that are about getting those needs met rather than from a place of pure intention. You might go into business not because you want to be of service, but because unconsciously you need the recognition. You want to be heard, you want to be seen, you have something to prove. Maybe you're going into business because you're trying to prove your value to somebody else. Those 9 resiliency keys will influence the motivations behind why you go into business and how you go into business. So one of the things that you can do, and I encourage people to do, is make sure, go through those 9 keys. You have them in the handouts. And the handouts, by the way, got mailed to you. And if you didn't get a copy, I think they're on the Facebook page as well. Go through those 9 resiliency keys and really check in with yourself and, you know, ask yourself, am I really living out the highest expression of these keys? Because the more you can clear whatever's holding you back from being a full-on 100% expression of who you are in every way, the more you can do that, the more success you're going to create in your business, because your energy will be aligned with pure intention and with ultimately with cosmic consciousness, and that creates nothing but magic in terms of business. Not only that, it's not just about being aligned, it's also about being aligned in an integrated way. If you're going to clean up places where you are struggling with alignment, or you feel like there's a gap in your alignment, it's not just about, we talk a lot about this in business, having a business mindset or having a mindset for success. That's part of it, but it's more than that. You really have to tackle this alignment in a much more integrated way than just fixing your mind or fixing your brain or the way in which you think. When we look at the human energy system, you know, we have physical bodies, and you've probably heard about the aura, you know, your physical energy cloud that you're traveling in, which is a very not actually real way of presenting it, but for the sake of understanding it, let's talk about your aura and the elements in your aura and how those elements in your aura actually influence or actually create your physical manifested reality. When you look at this diagram, you'll see there's different colors around the diagram. Each of these colors represents a different layer or a different quality in your energy field. You have your physical body or your physical reality, which is the world around you. This is the place where you get your inspiration from the earthly plane. You see something, you get an idea, right? You have an experience or you see a need, you get an idea. The physical manifested world is not just ideas, it's actually what's tangible. This is your body, your experience, your desk, your bank account, your website, everything that's in your physical reality is part of this physical realm of the energy field. The next layer of the energy field is called the vital body. This is the physical blueprint or the energy blueprint for your physical reality. So in the healing world, this is where we do subtle energy therapies like homeopathy, flower essence, acupuncture. Anytime you're dealing with the body's energy system or the chi or Ayurveda even, anytime you're looking at the physical movement of the physical energy but that's not manifested yet, you're working on the vital body level. You have a blueprint for your physical experience that actually energetically happens before it's collapsed or created in your physical reality. There's two other layers in that energy field called the mental and the emotional bodies. This is the place where you store your belief systems, your thoughts. This is where success thinking is, okay? Your success mindset is part of this conditioning field. What beliefs do you have about success, about business, about money, about hard work, about your value? What pains and experiences and traumas might you have had? What joys and delights and excitements have you had? What's your family story around business? What's your family story around success? You know, all of the things that have happened to you in this lifetime, and even the things that have happened to you in your family's legacy energetically, are carried in this level of your aura. Your past experiences, your belief systems absolutely affect your business success. They're not the only things though, and I really want to point this out because so many times people say, well, I'm stuck and blocked, and here's where I'm stuck and blocked. That's awesome to have that awareness, but you can't only work with that awareness. You can't just change your mind and change your experience necessarily. It's actually a little bit more complicated than how we're often taught in traditional business trainings. The next layer in the energy blueprint is called the supramental. This is what I call the non-manifest reality. This is the place where there are finite possibilities of options that you can be choosing, other archetypes, other realities you could be choosing within the realms of the earthly rules. So this is the place where we store all of the possibilities of your earth experience, our collective earth experience, meaning we all experience the blue sky and the sun and the stars. Those are part of our collective choices that we collapse into our reality every day. But it's also the place where you can have different stories that you could tap into than perhaps the ones you might be experiencing now if your business isn't doing what you want it to do. So if you want a different story about being successful, having a thriving practice, having more clients, being on stage, writing a best-selling book, this is where all of those possibilities are stored if they haven't been made manifest into your reality yet. they're out there. There are possibilities floating out there, and you can tap into those if you know how to tap into that quantum field. And then lastly, but not least, beyond that, there is a field called the bliss body. We'll go back to the diagram in a minute so you can see where all those are. The bliss body is actually the quantum field of infinite possibilities. That's where you can actually, on the turn of a dime, manifest a completely non-earth-based reality where perhaps you take a quantum leap and transcend all of the rules of the earth and do something really very interesting and powerful, like levitate and defy gravity. For all intents and purposes, I just put that there for the sake of being interesting. You don't actually have to tap into the bliss body and into the cosmic universe to change the reality in your business, but you do have to work with the vital body level, the physical body level, the mental and the emotional body level, and learn how to tap into the supramental and the quantum field so that you can bring into your reality a different story and a different business experience. So before you can do that, though, you have to really ask what is, I think, the most important question, and that is, who are you? Who are you really? When you look at your body and you look at your physical reality, it is mostly space. But it's not empty space. We're not empty space. There's no emptiness per se, but there's consciousness. The space that is you is consciousness, and your consciousness is the rocket fuel that allows you to jettison between these different levels of your energy field and bring into your reality a different experience. So you can, here's the thing, I have this interesting slide, but I realized as I PDF'd it that you guys can't see it move. So Cindy, we're past the little squiggly lines. I'll post this little GIF on the Healing by Human Design page. Before we can go into how do you use consciousness to create a different kind of success in your business, we have to go and explore some basic quantum physics principles. Quantum physicists discovered through looking at the behavior of subatomic particles that light, photons, subatomic particles, are always in movement. And when you are looking at them from a scientific perspective, you can only measure the movement, or you can measure the location of a photon or a light particle, but you can't measure both at the same time. The minute you try to locate something, it stops moving, right? So movement always contains potential. Location is manifestation. In our human experience, we translate potential, possibilities, all that stuff that lives in the supramental field of energy. We translate all of those possibilities into location. We stop the flow of potential and we make it something that we can measure, location, by giving it meaning. The minute we start to give something meaning, and as humans, we give things meaning by giving it words, which is why the throat center and speaking things into words is so very powerful, because when we start to speak it into words, we actually give it meaning. And the minute we start to give it meaning, we actually, what we call in quantum physics, they say you collapse. We collapse a potential into a real experience. So when we give things meaning, we make them manifest. So it's meaning that actually takes a potential and makes it a manifest reality in our real life. What that means is that the meaning you give your life, the meaning you give your business experiences, including the meaning or the stories that you tell about your capacity for success, your energy, your value, the things that you tell yourself a lot in your business. I'll give you some examples. These are things that my clients say to me very often. Oh, the people in my area don't have money. They can't afford those fees. I have to charge this fee because my community can't afford that fee, right? Or, oh, the economy is really going to take my business out. I don't know if I can sustain my business in this economic weather. Or people don't really want what I have to sell. I have to kind of mainstream it. I have to take all the woo-woo stuff off of it. I can't be real with it. I got to kind of dumb it down for the regular people. You know, or you know, I'm the world. This is one of my clients said this to me. That is actually a couple, and they had the story, this meaning that they had given to their experience, and they said, we are the world's best kept secret. It's like, and it was manifesting in every area of their business, right? Their business was like secret. You don't want to have that kind of a meaning on your business. You don't want your business to be a secret, right? Okay, so the language that we use, the stories that we tell, the meaning that we ascribe to our experiences and our understanding of business actually creates that possibility into reality in our words. To create success in your business, you have to ascribe a meaning that is in alignment with your desire and who you really are. Okay, you have a true desire and a true path in your life. Okay, you have a life purpose. You have a destiny. You are here to be who you are, all of you, whether you are, you know, a star person who has come into form, whether you are a sorceress who is here to share a message, whether you are a healer, whatever or whoever you are here to be the fullest, most authentic expression of that person. Okay? When you are doing that, when you are living out that reality, when you're giving meaning that is in alignment with that definition of who you are, when you're giving meaning to that definition that's in alignment with your human design type, things work because there's alignment there. When you're trying to be something you're not, you know, if you're trying to sell cars and you're supposed to be doing hands-on healing work, you're probably going to struggle with selling the cars because you're out of alignment. Okay, and it's not because you suck at sales or anything else. It's just because you're not in alignment. And if your business isn't working for you, one of the things that I would gently say is, are there things that you're doing in your business or places where you've compromised in your business, or maybe places where you're not being really honest with yourself about what it is that you really want to be doing? And are you going to be courageous enough to go full on and start telling yourself a different story about who you are, what you're here to do, and your success in the world? Anytime we resist or try to be anyone other than who we really are, our energy loses its sustainability and resiliency. Okay, you start to lose energy and lose momentum when you're trying to create something that's not true to what you really want. We are happiest and most successful and magical in our current awareness when we are creating an alignment with our human design. And whatever intentions and actions we take needs to be integrated across all layers of the energy field. You need to work on your mindset. You need to work on your emotional clearing. You also have to be working on an energetic level, doing the things on a subtle level to clear up your intentions, which is why ritual is so important. Why working with some, business rituals and being consistent in working on an energetic level with intention around your business is also crucial. And you also have to be doing the physical work. So you got to have the mindset, you got to have the emotional clarity, you have to have the intentions, you have to have your energy aligned, your blueprint has to be aligned, and you have to be doing the work. And you can't just think your way into it and change your mind. You can't just do the energy work and the rituals. You can't just do the work and not do the mindset piece. You have to approach it in an integrated way. Otherwise, you're not going to be having a quantum experience. You're only going to be taking a little piece of your energy and probably putting a lot of energy into working that particular part of your energy field, but you're not going to be maximizing your potential and making it easier for yourself. I mean, the truth is, when you're working on all levels of the energy field and working on all energy levels of the field with intention, magic happens, synchronicity happens, unexpected events happen, things go viral, business success gets easier when you're working all across those energy levels. If you're just trying to will your way into your business and following some blueprint that somebody gave you, you're going to be burning a lot of energy, but not necessarily maximizing the potential of the quantum field and the magic that's available to you in that way. Let's talk now about this. Yes. Did you have? Yes.
An hour. Go over.
I'm going over. I have about 15 more minutes. But I'll talk fast. So sustainability. And this one will be quick because I've already kind of gone over this. You can't build or grow a business if you're burned out, period, the end. And if you're not doing what you know you need to do, or you feel like you're procrastinating or putting it off, it might not be because you have bad moral character or you're lazy, and it might have everything to do with the fact that you might be burned out. And if you're burned out, you got to tackle the burnout first before you can tackle anything else. Business is by nature designed to have cycles of rest and balance integrated into it. You are not designed to power on all the time 24/7. If you are not aligned, you will burn a lot of energy trying to maintain the not self. You'll have more energy and you'll be able to create more sustainably when you are operating in a way that is got rest and balance and restoration incorporated into it. If you're pushing and burning the candle on both ends and trying to build when you're exhausted, you will invariably sabotage yourself. And if that's what's going on, and I gently invite you to really tune in and check in, where are you at with your energy? And if you're not there energetically, take care of the burnout first before you build. All right, let's talk about value. Going back to the will center. The will center is the center for value. Okay, so this is the place where we have our own sense of personal value and self-worth. It's also the place where we establish material value. Your own sense of value, your self-worth is going to be reflected in your business. Remember, going back to looking at this from an integrated perspective, your perception of your value is going to be held in the mental and the emotional body, or the emotional layers of your aura. It will, because it's part of your creating the energy blueprint for what you make manifest in the world. If you don't value yourself, your subtle energy body, or your vital energy body, and your physical reality will reflect. It's just quantum science here. Is going to be a reflection in your business, okay? The more you value yourself, the more the more value your business will have. And it's not about ego. The will center is also sometimes called the ego, or the ego center. And when it's out of balance, when it has unmet needs about value, it goes out into the world to try to prove its value. And that's that energy that comes across as being egotistical. Me, I, me. When it becomes all about me, it's usually because there's unmet energy needs about value. And you're going out to the world with the intention of proving your value to the world. When you are solid in your own value, you don't have anything to prove to the world. You can then step into a place of pure service and recognize that your ego is the aspect of yourself that's a differentiated piece of the divine. You have a unique part of you that is a unique representation of the divine in the world, and that unique part of you has a role in the world, but it's not ego. That's you just serving your mission. All right? So the more your own sense of value will be reflected in your business. And here's the last little piece that I want to talk about tonight. Your understanding of the world is going to be a result of consciousness, and this is more of a collective thing and something just to think about. Prior to the mid-1920s, our understanding of science and our understanding of the world, our understanding of science, our understanding of art, our understanding of religion, everything that we perceive in the world is influenced by where we are in consciousness. Collective consciousness prior to the mid-1920s was very, very dense and very, very material. Our science, Newtonian physics, which is probably the physics most of us learned in schools. This was the, if you drop an apple, how fast does it fall? Newtonian physics, which happened prior to the mid-1920s, was very, very materially based. And in fact, a lot of our understandings of science in the world today are still very Newtonian based. Newtonian physics created the mindset that created the Industrial Revolution and all kinds of formulaic thinkings. You do this, you get this. You move this, you do this. Resources are finite. We move this resource to do this. You work this machine to create this product. It's a very, very finite, fixed linear way of thinking. And most of our business training and our understanding of business and traditional business is still deeply rooted in this energy of physical materiality and Newtonian physics. The economy, the material economy that's rooted in the consciousness that created Newtonian physics is very much materially based, right? You're going to sell somebody something because that's a tangible material good. In the mid-1920s, we had the emergence at the beginning of a brand new way of understanding physics. We had the emergence of what's called quantum physics. Quantum physics, or physicists who discovered quantum physics, discovered that there's way more to the world than just the dense material manifestation of matter, but that there's actually subtle energy and all kinds of other energetic influences and potentials and measurements of potentials that create our physical manifested experience, and that we can change the nature of our physical manifested experiences by changing the way in which we work with energy. This is the hallmark of an emerging or a growing consciousness of energy in the world. And that emerging energy, or that emerging consciousness, has created or is creating a new economy. And that new economy is rooted not so much in the delivery of material goods, as much as it is in the delivery of experiences and or subtle energy. So we are moving into an economy that now doesn't necessarily just sell stuff, but we sell things like fulfillment, alignment, healing, joy, happiness. These are more intangible, more subtle, energetic things that the economy is beginning to drive. Okay, think about it. Just to stretch your brains a little. Think about money. And think about the way we have transformed the business of money. You know, we don't touch, I don't know how you guys are. I rarely touch money anymore. I like move numbers around on a screen, right? It's a very intangible, quantum kind of a way of doing business. There's businesses that are about taking those numbers on the screen and giving them to other people who have numbers on their screen, stock market, right? And then moving those numbers back and forth based on future predictions of sales of something that may or may not happen. And poof, voila, you've made a whole bunch more numbers on the screen. It's not a tangible material exchange of value anymore. It's become somewhat quantum, right, in that respect. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that some of the struggles that some of us are experiencing in business as we grow and expand and, you know, increase our consciousness is happening because we're in a shift. We're literally in a shift. We're shifting from a material understanding of the world to a quantum understanding of the world. And the nature of how we do business and the measurable criteria for how we define success, usually money, is changing, and the nature of the kinds of service we deliver, the measurable quantities and qualities for how we measure these services. How do you measure if you've transformed someone's life, right? How do you measure if you've taught somebody how to tap into their joy? How do you measure if you've helped somebody connect with their angels, right? These are immeasurable services that we are offering as part of the leading edge of a new economy. And it's a very, very important leading edge. I want to show you that in human design, just to verify for you that this is a changing economy, and as such, we are having, as those of you on this leading edge, we're also having to really redefine business. And I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I will tell you, the more we drop into our intuition and trust ourselves and stop listening to these old ways of doing business and these old stories about this is what business has to be, and here's the business formula, and here's Facebook marketing, and here's this, you know, the more we stop playing those games, the more we start dropping into our own gut and cleaning up our own intentions and cleaning up our own energies and aligning ourselves, the more we can serve on the leading edge of this business and this new era or this new economy. And I want to show you why this is so important. The blueprint for the economy is actually evolving, and the blueprint for doing business is actually evolving. When we go back to the old human design chart, remember I showed you the business circuitry, and see if you can go up just one slide. There you go. You'll see in red the old business circuitry. What's happening, and actually we're in this last 10 years thrust of this evolution, we are actually adding a new channel to the business circuitry, the 5027. This is in purple. The 5027 is the energy for feeding people, nurturing people, loving people, teaching people, educating people, making sure people are taken care of, loved. That energy of love and value and nurturing is being added to the energy of business. We are moving into business being a much more deep and rich, fuller manifestation of the energy of love and service. The more you are driven to do your business because of the desire to serve and love, because you desire to take care of people, because you desire to feed and educate the world, because you have a desire to make the world a better place, the more you're adding to the growth and expansion of the theme of sustainability and love on the planet. This economy is very powerful, and it's very, very different than the Newtonian concept or the Newtonian economy we're coming from. System. Money was temporarily used. Actually, let me just give you the history of money. People used to barter, okay? And it became very inconvenient as the world grew to try to find that right person that had the right thing that you wanted and you had the right thing that they wanted. So we decided, let's create money, because it's a temporary placeholder for this barter system. But then money got messy. The energy of money is really messy because religion got into it and all kinds of other stuff got into it. Money is simply a representation of value. And the more we can allow that flow of money to represent just the value that you share with people and let go of all the old conditioning and all the stuff we have about money, the more we can allow money to be the source of sustainability for yourself, so that you can do the business you came here to do. And most importantly, it's not about the business, because your business is just the manifestation of the mission of your life purpose and your soul. And you can serve the world by adding on to this leading edge of consciousness of business that is about creating an exchange of value that promotes health, healing, joy, wellness, abundance in every way, and to release ourselves and to liberate ourselves from the constraints of an old system of economy that was only rooted in an exchange of goods or services, mostly goods. So here's a quick summary for you. For you to do well or to be successful in business, you have to know who you really are and craft your business around this intention and this truth. The more aligned you are with who you are, the more authentic you are, the more real you are, the less you are trying to put on some kind of business success mask, the more success you'll have in your business. You have to have meanings and beliefs that tell the truth about who you really are. Tell stories about yourself and your business that really sustain your soul and the essence of who you really are. Your business is a spiritual dynamic process designed to help you evolve as well as help your clients evolve. To integrate new meanings and intentions, you have to work on all levels of the energy field, meaning physical, vital, mental, emotional, and supramental. If you want to change the way in which you create success in your business, start telling a different story, and then start taking different actions. And then if you need to, go see somebody to work on the subtle body energy level, work with an energy therapist or somebody who does EFT or somebody who can do acupuncture or acupressure or aromatherapy or flower essences or homeopathy on every level of the energy field, so that you can tap into and really fully manifest without any kind of hesitation or limitation that new story into your reality. For you to do well in your business, you have to step into the true value of who you really are. Remember, you are designed to love yourself and to value yourself. You have nothing to prove. So go out into the world with the awareness that you're here to serve, and there's nothing left to prove. You have to have the intention to serve. It's the intention to serve that creates profit, not the intention to make money. And that means in every single way. Don't go into, teaching a workshop and go, okay, I need to make $10,000 in this workshop so that I can pay my bills next month. Go into that workshop with the intention to serve. The more you are aligned with the intention to serve, the more you will be sustained by the forces of the universe, because the universe is going to support you if your intention is pure and you're in that place of service. But not martyrdom, okay? Don't compromise your value. Go in there to serve with the awareness that you are profoundly valuable. Money is simply a vehicle for the expression of value. That's it. That's all. These are just some really general, huge overviews. This particular topic took me a long time today to put all this together. And I'm frustrated because I really want to talk to you for about 8 or 30 hours about everything that I wanted to jam into this, because I want you to be successful in your business. There's nothing more joyful, I think personally, and more satisfying than to be able to go out into the world and share that passion, that excitement, that authentic love that you have for the message that you want to share, the service you want to give, and to watch the people respond because they've received the value of what it is you're here to give. That is the biggest kick in the pants in the world. And I want you to have that. If everybody could just have that, and to know that if you can step into that space, the other pieces, then, and it's not so much that magic happens in the sense that you click your heels together and poof, your bank account fills up, but the knowledge and the intuition and the instinct and the awareness of what you need to do to generate the business comes to you without the struggle and the effort. And it's much easier to do business from that aligned place of integrity, and certainly much more effective way of making money than trying to be something that you're not. So let's talk for just a minute about what's next for your business. I just want to let you know that tomorrow I'm going to send you an email, and I'm going to, in that email, talk to you about some opportunities. If you went through this presentation, you went, oh, I see there's some places where I'm really potentially out of alignment. I'm going to give you some opportunities to look at human design and the healing by human design system so you can get some more information so that you can really work on bringing yourself more into alignment with your lovability, your power, your courage, your decisiveness, your emotional wisdom, your self-trust, your energy, so you can restore your energy and be vital again, your authenticity, and your self-worth. If you also want to learn about how you can help other people get aligned with the Healing by Human Design system, I actually have a level 1 certification training program coming up this weekend, and I'll give you some information about how you can join that if you feel inspired to really create around that. And then I'm going to give you some information about a brand new program that I have called the Business Alignment Coaching Program. In that particular program, we're going to talk about your specific chart and look at your life purpose, how to identify your life purpose in the chart, how to really structure your business so that it's in alignment with your purpose. We're going to talk about how to be resilient in business. Then we're going to talk about the 9 resiliency keys and really looking at where might you need to beef up those 9 resiliency keys. We're also going to use the Healing by Human Design processes, which is an integrated healing approach that uses subtle energy medicine or subtle energy therapies. We're going to use coaching practices that work on the emotional level and on the mental level. We're going to tap in, use rituals, and we're going to actually use really cool techniques to tap into the quantum field of possibilities and actually bring into your physical reality different stories than perhaps the ones you might be manifesting right now. We're also going to talk about right actions, abundance strategies, and how to make your business flow with grace. We're going to talk about, in module 3 in this program, we're going to talk about how to structure your business so that it's right for your energy. Not everybody is designed to have the same kind of energy, and you need to understand your unique energy blueprint and how you need to structure your business. Do you need to be speaking? Do you need to be writing? Do you need to have passive forms of revenues? You've got to understand how to best leverage yourself so that you can sustain and maintain your energy so you don't burn out. And then in the 4th module, and this is the one I'm most excited about, I'm actually going to show you how to sell. I'm going to show you how to sell in the way that's right for you, not in the, beige plaid car salesman way. We're going to look at your energy blueprint, the energy blueprint of the people around you. We're going to talk about how to leverage that energy blueprint. We're going to talk about, most importantly, how to write effective and powerful sales copy so that you can really make sure, remember the throat center, you can talk about and present information about your service, your business, in a way that people can really understand and can see the value of, so that they can make the choice to engage in a collaborative process with you and be served by you, so they can go on and activate their wealth, their health, their abundance, and you all can work together to make the world a better place. So that'll be coming to you tomorrow. I just want to say this. I just want to thank you all, first of all, for hanging on for extra time. I want to thank Cindy for running the slides and probably putting her head on the desk and falling asleep. Mostly, I want to say thank you for those of you who have the courage to be entrepreneurs right now. This is a very important and very exciting time. The work that you do right now is actually birthing and midwifing a new economy. And you are on the leading edge of this economy. I thank you for having the courage to keep honoring the calling of your soul and keep pushing and going out there and having the courage to present your heart and your soul to the world, and to do this work with just all the love that I know you guys have to offer. I have coached light workers for all of my adult life. That's a long time. And I have never in my life come across a group of business people who have more of a desire to serve than you all. So I thank you all for continuing to push against the old, or to struggle against the old, and to have the courage to break out and do the new. Every time you emerge into your business and you tap into your abundance and your voice and your power and your mission and what you're here to do, you add to the growth and expansion of consciousness in this world. You add to the energy of abundance, and each and every one of you holds a vital key, a vital piece to the evolution of the planet. So thank you for doing your work. Thank you all for being here tonight. I will take your questions.
Okay.
If you have.
Jean had a comment. She said some years ago, I heard a teacher say that we're leaving the information age and we're moving into the age of wisdom in business.
I would say the thing that I would say is we're moving into the age of possibilities. That the greatest thing you can do in your business is give people possibilities. So yeah, totally.
And then there was a question. C.A. Dollar said, are there any gates we should use as a starting point or basis for telling the story of who we are, who you are?
Look at what's in your sun, in your conscious sun. That's going to be the very top right-hand gate in the black. It's going to be in black. And if you go to my book, Understanding Human Design, I actually go through all the gates in that book. You can read about the gate and do the little writing exercises that come with the gate.
And actually right now, that's the end of the questions. Well, yes, that's the end of the questions.
Good. All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining me. And again, thank you, Cindy, for once again staying up late. So I will talk to you all soon, and good night.